Hello, Wotive. I know I don't post nearly this much, but as of recording this, Umber Ray still hasn't made his video about the last batch of Dream Enhancements and MA2s, so I got bored, decided to look at it myself, and instead of doing all of them, I want to focus in on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. 6. That sounds oxymoronic, actually. I'm going to focus on only 6 of them. But we're going to try to keep this pretty quick. And starting with one of the ones that I think is actually really interesting. This guy is going to be really good in limited content. And in fact, I think I have a definite 3 favorites. And let me just go ahead and get to those first. So you can see my favorites first. So, as you can see, the master abilities have already happened for this guy. We already know what he's getting for that. Not a lot of defense or spirit. AoE resistance is pretty good. Some hate and definitely some agility for a tank. All of these are pretty good. So he's got a pretty good base. 15% HP is just amazing. 20 additional spirit in addition to this 10. In addition to what's on this board and what we'll talk about a little bit later. This is an MR unit that I think at this point can easily get to 100 spirit, which is really impressive. This puts him up here with Charlotte. And like Charlotte, he also has a lot of good opportunities for building defense as well. But the Dream Enhancement definitely leans him a lot harder into being a spirit tank. Now, he doesn't have a spirit passive, so you probably want to equip this guy, which is going to give him a good start on that defense. But again, not really a defensive tank. And before I show you the new... we'll talk about that in a second, I guess. Before I show you the new ability, I want to highlight one of his EX upgrades. This is Taunting Spell. That is Taunting Spellbind, I want to say now. Increase that damage mod, so he's going to be using it a lot more. Only 18 AP. This is a really cheap skill, especially when you compare it to Taunting Blade, which has an even higher modifier than this, but is like a massive amount of AP to cast. But this also inflicts Immobilize. It has pretty decent range, as you can see. You can hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares away from him at max, and can hit multiple units. And if you're using him, especially on like a range team, Wind has good wind ranged units. I'm not going to be talking about Lucia, unfortunately, although she did get Dream Enhancement, so that would work well with her. And then it increases hate. So this guy has a really good combination, hate generation, good damage, and increase hate move already, which is just great for a tank. Having a great move that gives them hate is just awesome. But then, boom, we upgrade the 120 ability, which reduces counter chance 100%, so turns off reflex, turns off all counter for 3 turns for them, so it allows additional units to take advantage of reflex being turned off already, and it restores a lot of his HP, which is pretty awesome considering that he's a tank. Being able to build your HP back up, especially when you're a big bulky boy, is pretty great. But now it absorbs a whole hell of a lot of HP. For one, it's guaranteed hit, and if that wasn't enough, it also gives you 12 hate, which is the same as your other Spellbind, so we have another hate generation move at only 20 AP as well. And look, I know he's a red mage, so he doesn't get, wait, no, he's not. He's a Spellblade mage. Spellblades, I think, are in that kind of red mage AP category where he doesn't have a lot of starting AP for a mage, but he is a mage, so getting all these cheap hate generation moves is just awesome. But I want to focus on this. We've got 40 spirit here, alright? Just ignore the board, doesn't have good passives for it, but we've got another 10 here, another 20 here. After casting this move, even not counting the board or any equipment that you have on him, he is going to have 70 spirit. That's nuts. But let's move on to another tank that I think is going to be great and limited. These honestly, like, the third unit that I'm going to talk about is obviously the heavy hitter, but these I'm really excited about, especially because I think tanks are really going to benefit from reincarnation, something that I said in my Warrior of Light video, although I don't think he's the candidate. And with MR stuff for doing reincarnation laps being a lot cheaper, I think that these actually might be the tanks that you want to go for. Now, she didn't get as many things upgraded, but this is a big upgrade. AoE resistance is great on a tank, and let me tell you why. Because if they're primarily targeting your tank, and your tank has a lot of AoE resistance, then they aren't as likely to try to splash in and hit some of your other units around them. They're going to focus exclusively on her. Now, this is really, really cool for her because she already has evasion rate 10, samurai sub, which is going to give her more options for evasion. She's got a really good passive oh wait, that's decreased defense, but it's only at 3, it's not that bad. And gives her some attack. Maybe you probably want to run it with this. You might want to run this. I guess it's either this or this. But she has a good passive for evasion as well. And then all of that just compounds. This skill, it got upgraded by her EX to do all of this extra stuff. 25% chance to inflict blind, which is going to help her and friends evade. It's also a move that hits everyone around her. So it's one of the ones where she just runs up in the middle of them and explodes. But it's also, she's going to get really close to people. So even if she didn't have hate, she's already pissing them off at close range. That's going to mean that they're going to try to target her a lot more likely. And that comes with 30 evasion rate up. And that's just off of her EX form. You thought that was crazy. Now it is a guaranteed hit. So she's definitely going to hit you with it. The blind chance hasn't changed, but the evasion rate has gone all the way up to 60 for 3 turns. This girl actually might be the first really viable evasion tank that is kind of a tank as a main job position. Like, I guess Unkillable Zazan's definitely an evasion tank. But, you know, this is definitely a category that has a lot of potential, and we don't have a lot of units that can really do it. So let's move on to the big star of the show. Definitely one of the newest units to get a dream enhancement that wasn't after that kind of era. So, you know, she's already probably the most base powerful of the units that are getting dream upgrades that aren't brand new units anyways. Spirit Penetration 20 is really good for her. I'll show you some more Spirit Penetration in her kit to where you can get that up to a really impressive number. Healing Power, make note of this. Unfortunately, I wish she got more Healing Power up because it would be really beneficial for the way that her upgrade went. But I think that her upgrade is really good. So her EX upgraded passive gives her 40 Spirit Penetration and 50% reaction block on everything. So, you know, like, especially if you're thinking of her, she's an earth unit, so she's going to be countering lightning especially. A lot of lightning units have reflex. This is already pretty good for her. Alright, so you add that to the 20 Spirit Penetration. She's getting base 60 Spirit Penetration. Let me just... Oh, it's earth resistance down. Okay, doesn't look like she gets another... Wait, nope, there it is. 50 Spirit Penetration. My motherfucking girl right here can hit 110 Spirit Penetration without any outside help. She doesn't need equipment to do this, nothing. 110 Spirit Penetration in Dream Enhancement. This is overkill. I don't even understand why they should have gave her like 10 Spirit Penetration and 10 Magic Attack Resistance Penetration. But like, oh my, I'm actually not complaining. And we haven't even talked about her auto revive. Her auto revive, when I talk about my survivability skills tier list, we're going to talk about specifically her auto revive. And why I don't usually like re-raise, at least I don't like it as much. I don't think it's as powerful as courage. But once you add CT up to it, it becomes a lot better. And especially with a unit like this, adding casting time reductions to it as well is also pretty cool, because you don't want to be sitting there with like 20% health trying to cast a heal on yourself and waiting on that to land, because you're probably going to die. But the new upgrade to this is it doubles the amount of HP that she comes back with. Now, 40% still isn't probably that impactful, but remember, she also got that 15 healing power up. Now, oh yeah, that's okay. So you definitely want to try to get her a defense or spirit set on her TMR, because this girl seems to be begging for more healing power up, because the higher you can get that healing power up, since auto revive is a self heal, she's going to be stacking that healing power twice, so it's effectively a healing power 30 for that skill. So that's going to really increase the amount that it heals her up for, and we're talking about getting revived at a lot closer to maybe 50, 60, or 70% HP than just the middling little 20 or 30 that she's getting now. And then when you stack that in with those other effects, the CT up, the casting time down, that makes her re-raise the best in the game by far. It's really, really good, and I dig it, although the one trade-off I would say to this, the one thing that probably isn't that great, again, I wish she had got more healing power up. I wish she had maybe not gotten 20 spirit penetration, but only 10. I don't think she needs to get to 110 without any outside help. More healing power would have been nice, or magic attack resistance penetration would have been nice instead of that. But it's also... This is also both of these upgrades, both this upgrade and this upgrade, are completely screwed over by re-raise remove. Re-raise remove is not terribly uncommon. So, for better or for worse, my opinion of this combined with her EX upgrade, especially on this, is she's putting a lot of eggs in the same basket. I think that the healing power up and this work really synergistically with her, with the rest of her kit. She's definitely a good unit. This is definitely going to be a powerful upgrade for her, and she's definitely going to hit like a real fucking champion. Yeah, this is going to be a really, really powerful skill to enable her, to put her over 100% spirit penetration. And again, this means that you don't have to use a spirit penetration equipment on her. This really opens up the equipment for her, because previously, I guess you were hitting 7D? Wait, am I doing math right? Have I said these numbers right? Yeah, 40, 60, 80. Oh, wait, no. 90. Okay, so you were hitting 110 with equipment before. And I guess that's worth it. But now you don't even need the equipment to do that, so that's pretty cool. So that means that I guess the... hold on. Okay, cool. Her mace is actually magic attack resistance penetration, so this still makes sense on her. It's I guess that means it's the diamond staff or emerald crystal, whatever, that really ridiculous looking mace that is the spirit penetration one. She definitely doesn't need that to get over 100% now. This is looking a lot better at making her tank buster. But those are the units that I really like. Let's talk about some of the ones that I'm a little bit more conditional on. So it was a little bit of a mixed bag for Luartha. I actually ended up liking Lucia's dream ability enhancement, other than the skill, better. Just to cover what hers was, she got she got a resistance penetration and AP up, which I think is better because you got like 1 damage increase and an AP increase, and then Luartha got an damage increase, but AoE resistance. Like, look, trying to make your gunner not die is probably less effective than making them more powerful, or giving them more range, or giving them the ability to take people out before they get hit. That's probably a lot more meaningful for them. And Lucia's upgrade, I think, doubles the chance of her ability to inflict slow, which, you know, I mean, it means that they get to you slower, I guess, but that doesn't seem particularly huge. Whereas, and this is one of the longest range moves in her kit, it does have piercing, so it can go through units on the way there, I think, which technically means that as a single target ability, it can hit multiple units, I think. These effects are already pretty powerful, but I think that anything, like gunners especially, you want to either get knockback, or immobilize, move down, or CT down, agility down, slow. These are the things that you want to do to people to make sure that they maybe take one more turn to get to you, or take one more hit to get to you. You can ping them one more time and maybe take them out before you take any damage at all. And I think that that's a much smarter way to go than trying to build resistance. But that being said, I think that the CT down on a piercing move is probably the better skill upgrade. And again, gunners are all-out offensive glass cannon units, so I think it's probably more impactful that, you know, the skill upgrade is the biggest part. And, you know, I just don't care for the AoE resistance on her. That's all I'm saying. She could have been maybe in the top 3 if that hadn't been bad. This actually, I think, is probably even bigger, and it's just a master ability too, and I actually kind of like it better than the other two. In fact, this, oh no, I do have another master ability too to talk about on this list. So let's just see what the new stuff is. It's everything from here down. So 1 more range, huge, huge, huge. You want them to have more range generally. Usually you would like to be able to turn it on or off, so it's a little bit more risky in this because it can prevent her from buffing, but generally speaking, you want ranged units to deal damage quickly and reliably, and take out units before they can possibly get to them. Now, this hasn't been the strongest gunner, and gunners in a lot of ways aren't as strong, I think, as rangers or bow-using characters. But I think it's really cool that she gets critical damage up because she's already a good critical unit. That's going to help her take out units before they can get to her. The range one is great, of course, but this is the big one. This is why I actually like this way better than a lot of other units that I've talked about so far, a lot of the 2 gunners that I just mentioned so far, because getting a 200 CT boost performing every critical hit, that's great. That's great. I love that, because she's probably always going to perform a critical hit, and that just means that she might get the opportunity to self-chain on someone, and she gets more opportunities to take them out before they get to her. And especially with her increased range, I mean, it's just great, because she can start doing that even sooner when they're further away, which means that that second hit might land before they can. Really, again, with gunners, you want anything you can to make sure that they can take somebody out before they get in range. Now, oh wait, the AoE resistance also increased by 10. So you already know how I feel about AoE resistance on a gunner. Kind of useless. I wish they just put more into offense. And finally we have Elsorel. Elsorel is one of my favorite characters. I really enjoyed her as a unit in the very limited time that she was actually good, between the time that she was released and the time that, say, Final Fantasy X was released, because the fact that she didn't get her 120 upgrade for so much longer than a lot of units, she just spent most of her life being way behind the curve. And one of the most interesting things about her, she's not a tank, she's much more of a brawler, but she does technically have hate generation in her kit, and she is pretty tough. And I really feel like the way that she was good, the thing that she was good at, was being more of a resistance tank a la Whisper, a la Esther. Not nearly as strong as either of those, but definitely helped out by her master ability. Her master ability too, in addition to giving her slash penetration 20, because she is a brawler, she definitely does need a way to deal more damage, and that's a pretty good way of doing it. There's a lot of ways to increase slash attack resistance penetration for light. There's a good card for that she could benefit from. But getting pierce resistance and missile resistance 20, these are a great combo. It just makes me think that this puts her more in line with where someone like Esther is, except that she doesn't necessarily, I don't think she really has that much in the way of defense in her kit. Because Esther has the really high resistances, because she also has magic attack resistance, potentially. So there's a lot of them that she can stack. There's a decreased defense. Oh, defense 20 on a buff and dual gunner. But yeah, she's definitely not going to be, and I wouldn't even really call Esther a tank. But I do definitely think of her as a physical tank in a lot of ways, and I do like to run her with Taunting Blade, and maybe even a little initial hate via Vow of Love, something like that. But this is definitely going to make her a good potential counter for piercing and missile. It leans into what makes her uniquely tough in a way that I really enjoy, and hopefully she gets her dream ability update pretty soon, because if you stack that on there, and again, she because of being released right before EX, she was in that awkward position where she got her EX basically last and kind of sucked for a while, so it would be really good for units like her, maybe Garvel, Raldor, Nivlu, Sakura, a lot of those ones that got released in that batch right before EX, to get their dream enhancements earlier than other units, because clearly they're not doing it by release date, because we've already seen, as I showed you, Queen Macherie. But it would be really cool to see those units that got left out, that got left kind of like in the ass crack of the meta for a good year, to actually get a head start on everybody else instead. And I think that this master ability too definitely pushes her to a place where she could be good in her 140. Although it's kind of funny and sad that she's only getting the master ability 2, while so many other of these units are getting great 140s and dream enhancements. Like, you couldn't give her both? Come on, man. Y'all have treated this girl like a redheaded stepchild since she was released. Come on, man. You could hook her up for once, couldn't ya? She's so cool in the story. Like, I love her and Camilla's shtick together. They're so cute. And, like, come on, do her some respect. Put some respect on her. In this form, Summer Elsorel's a fucking beast. I've been using her since she came out. She's been carrying my water account since it began. But it would be really cool to see this Elsorel also be that cool. But I think that this is really a good way to get that started. Anyways, that's my thoughts on some of the things that are coming to JP this week. So, definitely check out the other ones if you're really interested. But I really think that, Queen Macherie is probably one of the more powerful of the units, thanks to her upgrades, thanks to her getting all of this stuff really quickly, thanks to being able to hit 110 spirit penetration and being able to hit a natty 60 that's constant, that doesn't rely on buffs. I mean, that's pretty awesome. She is a good unit, but I wonder if Esther can wear a TMR. Okay, wait. But I don't think her dream ability, like, if I was just judging this on the quality of the dream ability, I don't actually like hers that great. I just think that she's a good unit, and I kind of figured that they wouldn't give her as strong of a dream ability as other units because she doesn't need as much help as other units will, which is ultimately going to stunt her growth in the long run, but it's going to make her very powerful right away. So if you have her, definitely a good unit to be saving for. But really, the ones that I'm psyched for are Dario and Ravis. They are both so very good, like potentially an evasion tank. This one I'm a little bit more scared about, to be completely honest with you, because evasion is... evasion in this game is so hit or miss that, you know, it really depends on how much that 60 evasion really does for her, if that's enough to get her over the threshold to where she can actually dodge some people, because a tank with a good evasion potential is potentially, like in FFBE, they were incredibly overpowered ways to cheese all content. Like, this is why I have the love I have for Noctis, despite me having made a video about how Wodev has fucked him over as a unit, along with a lot of collab units. In FFB, he was amazing because he was one of the first available evasion tanks that could hit 100% evasion. He was pretty powerful for that. So I think that she has the potential to be really cool, especially in PvE, but in general, the person I think actually got the best dream enhancement overall is Dario. Dario looks fucking scary. He's... Yes. Just yes. Yes, Dario, yes. You deserve to be at the front of this video. And thank you everybody for watching. If you stick around for the next couple of minutes, I've got a little project that I want to tell you about that's outside of Wodev. But you know what? Thank you for tuning in. And even if you don't, good luck and happy pulls. But actually, you know what? You should probably save for reincarnation. That is my ultimate advice to you today. See you in the next one. If you are still, for whatever reason, watching the video, thank you. You have a lot of faith in me to just watch this thing to the end on faith. I like you. I like you. Good vibes. But I also want to tell you that I'm a writer and that I have recently published my third book in paperback. I just got done fully editing them. It has been a lot of work to do by myself, but if you're a Final Fantasy fan, there is at least some chance that you would like to go on a multi-story romp through a connected digital multiverse, but also kind of classic fantasy and magic experience that kind of rides the line between technology and deep fantasy lore. Expect worlds that have existed for hundreds of years and have deep historical roots. Expect characters both memorable and enchanting, and hopefully you will find these worlds and their histories and how they intersect with each other and how people come together and fight for a better world. If you find that kind of thing inspiring, check them out. I think that probably the best starting place that I would recommend is Athena's Chosen, even though chronologically it kind of exists in the middle of the series. It is the first book of its trilogy, and it was based on a tabletop game that I designed based on a book that I was writing at the time and allowed some friends to play in. So it has really interesting rapport, especially like the chitter chatter is just always very lively and interesting in that one, and it's quite a jaunty tale. So anyways, thank you for tuning in for so long. I know that longer videos like this don't usually do well on YouTube, but I appreciate you. You're a good fish there, Charlie Brown. What does that even mean? Cut?